Hi, my name is Tyvis Powell, former Ohio State Buckeye and national champion DB. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast. These guys was born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Yeah. Subscribe to the show. Now pour up a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick. Get him, Joe.
Thank you, Tyvis. Always a motivational speaker for me. And high five to Tyvis for getting the fucking BTN job, man. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. He's going to be calling games before you know it.
You know, he might be a better studio guy.
I don't know.
You know, but we'll see. He'll get the opportunities. I'm sure he'll earn the opportunities.
He does high school games there.
Yeah, it's always nice to have more Buckeyes on TV. You know, they run every network now. Well, have been pretty much.
Right. That's right, folks. So we're back, getting geared up. I am wearing the party shirt. This is half to get me energized, but mostly because we opened fall camp this week. So if you're not energized by that, I don't know what the fuck you need. Maybe a little shock to the system, but let's talk Buckeye football. Please subscribe, like, share. Share would be awesome. I know sharing is hard for some people, but just consider it. I'm just asking you to take it under advisement and support the show. You can do a super chat, super thanks, join the TBC Friends community. And I know I've been hitting this one kind of hard, but we're doing 25% off at thebuckeyecast.com. Shirts, hats, everything. Everything is 25% off just through fall camp. So this month of August through fall camp, before the season starts, get in there, get your shit, hats, shirts, water bottles. We got all kinds of stuff, man. It's fucking insane. Phone cases. Anyway, check it out, thebuckeyecast.com. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscriptions by week 1. We've got a little less than, 4 weeks? Yeah, I think it's 4 weeks. Get us there, please. We're very close. We're at like 2,300-ish. But so I know the chat's probably all geared up about recruiting after losing another 5-star last night. I'm sure everybody's very happy and proud to be a Buckeye fan today. But I got a question for the chat, actually. I would like to get your feedback on this one. Jeff and Shawn, you two, keep it brief. Would you rather have in a recruiting class, if you have to have one or the other, you can't have both, either a 5-star corner or a 5-star D end? What's your choice? Think about it. We'll come back to you. All right. We'll try and circle back at the end of the show. So take your time. No rush. This is not Jeopardy.
I'll tell you right now.
No, take your time. Let's come back to it because I want to have the chat to have time to get their comments in. So Bourbon Talk, what do we got going on there? Shawn, how you doing tonight?
Oh, not too bad. Just finishing off a kind of icky bottle of Western Reserve bourbon. Yeah, it's not drain pour, but it's not great either, Bob.
Man, it's good for mixers.
I don't really mix my bourbon.
Okay.
Once in a while, an old fashioned, but that's rare.
Yeah.
That's if I'm out trying to be fancy.
Yeah. Trying to look good. I like the cherries, the occasional cherries. Woodford makes Woodford Reserve makes cherries that are soaked in Woodford. You can find them at like most liquor stores and shit. Those are the shit, man. Anyway, when you're talking old fashions, Jeff, what do you got going on there? Got some cake in your face?
Well, yeah, I came home. My daughter turned 17 Wednesday. She had a friend's birthday party tonight, dinner, coffee, movie, cake, and everything. So I ran home, showered, got a slice of cake in my face, and then a glass of Buffalo in my cup, and got on with you guys. So glad I can make it. A lot going on.
Let's
today.
go.
Nice.
Happy birthday to your daughter.
Yeah, gonna be a senior this year. My oldest. Gonna be a senior.
Senorita. All right. So coming up this week, folks, please make sure you're subscribed, because this past week we had Ryan Day's press conference, first one of the fall. We had player interviews. All the quarterbacks spoke except for Lincoln Keenholz. Then we had Jim Knowles and the linebackers. Then Tony Alford and the running backs. We got a scrimmage coming up next Saturday. You're going to get coaches and players like heavy duty in these first couple of weeks of August. So make sure you subscribe. I'm going to crank out all those as they come in. So hit that bell if you really want to get alerted as to when things are coming out. And in our rush hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, going live at 4:30. That's Eastern time. We're going to talk about the latest camp news and notes and updates and stuff. So still double fingers and toes crossed on the injury front. Let's be lucky this year for once. So, and then here on our TBC Weekly going live, we're doing next week team wins, over-unders. Then Stephen Cherry's favorite show, and I know you're out there, Stephen, predict the scores. Team wins and predict the scores in back-to-back weeks. Those are like Stephen's wet dream, right? I mean, that's what we're all waiting for.
We gotta have a contest, Joe. Put something together where we get everybody's predictions for the season, keep track, and winner gets a t-shirt, gift card, something.
Okay.
I like that, Shawn. I like that. Get a running total. To qualify, you have to be, you have to put in the score for each game to qualify for the contest. But then at the end of the year, I like that. Kind of see where everybody stacks up.
Or are we putting in money? Let's do $5 each.
I mean, I'll put in money, but I don't know. Can the users put in money?
Yeah, they can give me a super chat right here in the show. I can keep track of that.
Super chat.
We should do a raffle like every week. What do you think of that? We should do a raffle. Maybe a 50-50 raffle.
Let's hear from the people. If they tell us what they want, I'm all for it.
All right. I don't know if we should do the predict the scores like preseason. Let's do the predict the scores week by week. We'll do the predict the scores on our show for us, next, like in 2 weeks before the season starts. But I would rather do it week to week. That way it's fresh in our brains, because I don't want people, forgetting things.
Well, I don't even know how you keep track of that. I mean, predict the scores. Nobody's going to hit the scores right, pretty much.
We've done it every year. We've done it for 7 years.
I know, but we've never really kept track to see.
Oh, I'll go back to last year's, and I don't think I kept track of. Were we doing the live show? Yeah, we might have. Oh yeah, I did go back and check, and Jeff wasn't on that show, coincidentally. It was just me and Shawn. I went back and looked at those, so I can give you actual stats from last year between me and Shawn. Although I wasn't tracking everybody else, like the listeners and shit. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. You guys want to do like a little payout at the end of the week? Get your money in, because we do live shows 4 times a week. You could easily enter at some point, one of those 4 days for the upcoming game, right?
Yeah, we'll talk off air and figure it out. Get a nice good system in place. Lay down the rules and get people signed up.
I'll keep an eye on the comments tonight. I promise. I'll get to you when I can. We got to lay out a couple topics here, and we'll address the comments as we get there. Number one, I got to get you guys takes because we don't see to explain to everybody listening and watching. Jeff and I and Shawn don't get a chance to talk throughout the week, so. I have no idea how they feel about things like blowing up the Pac-12 or the Saudis trying to buy Florida State, things like that. You laugh, but it's true. Or banks like JP Morgan Chase trying to buy Florida State. I don't know. But so we haven't talked about these things. That's why the Sunday night show is so key and so important, because you get more than just my opinion. You get Jeff and Shawn, and typically they're very different opinions. So let's hit on the Pac-12 first. I don't want to dig too deep into the ACC because there's no movement there at all whatsoever. I mean, there's a lot of talk, a lot of cigar smoke, but nothing actually moving. So. Shawn, your thoughts, Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten in 2024, along with UCLA and USC, getting the Big Ten up to 18 teams. Your quick reaction.
Well, of course, I think if you were to play the show that we probably did right after USC and UCLA joined, that you would see, I probably us all in agreement that Oregon and Washington would be joining soon. And then it was just like, okay, the debate was kind of who then after that? Are we done with the PAC after these guys, or are we going to clean them up for good? I would actually prefer, if we're at 18 now and not going to get rid of anybody, I could move on to greener pastures, snag Notre Dame and Clemson and finish it out with that. For 20, but to me this was a done deal, and I knew it actually happened a little quicker than I thought, because we took USC UCLA, that happened, and it's all like, well, why aren't these other ones going? And then there was those talks from, oh, nothing's being talked about right now, so I thought it would happen, but I didn't think they'd get it done and be in already next year.
Right.
For next
they move quickly.
Season.
Right.
That's pretty aggressive.
How do you feel though? You feel like we've leveled up?
Yeah, I mean those are going to be. It's actually going to be good for us and good for them. I feel two of the better programs out there, along with USC. See if UCLA can get their shit together. Yeah, I mean it's to me it's just a no-brainer. And then there's just a couple others that are out there, and the ACC. If it's going to be close behind. I mean, I got to imagine all of these teams that are kind of on the bubble. Are you going to get into the Big Ten conference or the SEC conference? Because that's what it's going to go to. And the spots are running out, boys. I mean, there's 2 left in the Big Ten now. And I don't know how many in the SEC. They're up at 16, 18. I'm not sure where they're at, but to me, in my mind, it's going to go to 20. But maybe they would take it to 24. Who knows?
But at some point, you're bringing in more Rutgers and Marylands, right? I mean, if you bring in Oregon State, Washington State, I mean, that doesn't add much value. But the Four Corners schools are going to the Big 12, so that's both Arizona's. So yeah, Utah.
Well, I mean, I actually think you could probably boot a couple of the schools out of these major. We're going to turn these into major football conferences. I mean, I think you could get rid of teams like maybe Rutgers and maybe teams like Vanderbilt and move on with, bigger powerhouse teams. I think, to me, the ones remaining left, it's Miami, Florida State, Clemson, the ACC schools. North Carolina, I think, should probably get in one. And then, does Virginia or Vatech, do they get in one? Anybody up
Yeah.
east? I don't know, Boston College,
Well,
I doubt it.
yeah, dicing up the ACC is way down the road. I don't see that
I don't know.
happening.
With this shit happening so quick, I'll bet you next year this shit's going, things started popping.
Okay. Jeff, what do you think? Oregon and Washington join the Big Ten. Happy, not happy?
Happy. We need at least two more teams for UCLA and USC. Even though it's not like a quick drive across the state, but it's still the same time zone. Possible revenue stream of that 10 o'clock window for TV. If Fox or somebody wants to get on, even ESPN maybe would want that window with us. So there's avenues for more revenue. We needed two more teams. We shouldn't leave USC and UCLA out there on an island, I thought. So, and those are the best two options from that region. As far as Washington State, Oregon State, the Cal and Stanford, the four left behind. Stanford's really the only viable one because Stanford has a lot of those Olympic sports and produces a lot of Olympic athletes that they're going to have to start cutting some of them programs for 20 million a year battling us. So Stanford's going to look to make a move. I don't know if that brings Cal with them or not. I could care less about Cal, but I would take Stanford as the last remaining West Coast team. I definitely don't want Clemson, Shawn. But you said Notre Dame and Clemson and call it a day. Fuck Clemson. I would rather have Stanford.
I have no interest in the ACC teams at all.
No, and you said you don't want to really dive into the ACC too much, Joe. I got a lot of hope in that. But yes, happy about Oregon and Washington. It's a good program. I mean, we are recruiting Washington pretty well right now. But I think it's even going to be easier to get kids out of that Northwest, knowing that they're going to be coming on the same TV contracts or whatever. So, all for it. Those are the first two we needed. I thought we would go from 16 to 20 and not even stop at 18, but.
Well, you got to take these things. I guess it seems to be in pairs, right? I mean, and I don't see Notre Dame being an option because they're going to have to find, somebody to couple with. Who's that? I mean, BYU or something.
No, BYU's they're entrenched now. They got their in-state rival, big time rival in conference. Yeah.
So yeah, we're not taking service academies. So what else is there?
Notre Dame would be the partner with Stanford, but Notre Dame.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be Notre Dame Stanford would be a nice pairing.
So we're just going to wait out Notre Dame. You know what I mean? We can take Stanford whenever we want out of what they end up in the WAC, the Mountain West, wherever they get absorbed to. And then we're just going to have to wait out Notre Dame.
No one's going to watch their shit anymore if they're not in.
No.
Yeah. The Big Ten has all the power, man. ACC too, somewhat. I mean, but ACC.
They don't care. The SEC's confident in their 16. They're like, we're talking cool with 16. They don't. Florida State does nothing for them. Clemson does nothing for them. They already got schools in those states that are borderline equal in program. South Carolina's right.
Do you think that the NCAA will redefine Power 5 conferences because the Big 12 and the PAC are no longer Power 5? I mean, those are mid-tier conferences at this point.
Yeah.
After next year,
that's like
ACC's holding on, with a couple of programs, but to me, it's a Power 3. Should go to a Power.
It definitely is. It definitely is a big 3 right now. The ACC will be included because of their TV rights deal, and they have teams that have been in the playoffs recently. So the ACC will stay it'll move to a Power 4. But it's really only a Power 3.
Who's the fourth one that you think still worth
ACC
shit?
would be the fourth.
Who's the third?
I mean, Big 12.
Oh, that's trash. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas are gone. Texas Tech and Oklahoma State.
Shawn, they're still a Power 5 conference. Look what they've added. I mean, I know. There's the Big Ten and the SEC are 1 and 2, way the fuck up there, and way down there is, Power 3, the number 3 spot, and then way below that is the number 4 ACC, cleaning up the basement. So I mean, there's a huge
Big
gap.
12, I mean,
But they are still they still have to be considered a power, one of the 4 conferences. They can't go to Power 5 anymore, obviously, because the Pac-12's 4 teams. So they'll say Power 4.
Your schedule's going to be over with by the end of September.
What the? Yeah. So, but the Big 12 is the Big 12's added. Their basketball league. Forget it.
Who's the good football team in the Big 12?
Utah.
K-State.
I think Utah comes in right now.
Is that TCU?
TCU. Yeah.
I mean,
they made it to the playoffs at least.
Got
to the championship game.
TCU, but yeah, they hung 51 on Michigan, and Michigan.
Oh, JJ just threw another pick 6.
Michigan handled us, the prior week or the prior game. So now, obviously, they look like what we thought they would look like against Georgia. But then, TCU was legit. I mean, they were.
Let's stay on track. Let's stay on track here on the realignment stuff. I want to tell you. Let's talk dollars and cents when we're talking. All right, I'll fuck them. Notre Dame right now is only getting $26 million a year from NBC and a little bit of the ACC. 26. How do I don't know how else to spell it out to these guys. They're supposed to be smart people there in South Bend, but they don't seem to be. Or they're just stupid and stubborn. You could be making 90 mil and upwards, possibly 100 mil a year by joining the Big Ten.
I don't see how it doesn't get to 100
That's simple math, right?
I mean, yeah, you're guaranteed the percentage of what everybody else is guaranteed, but if the status of adding Notre Dame to the Big Ten, there might be some kind of contingency in those contracts that says, oh yeah, I mean, because it's just a big name. I mean, they're a huge name, whether we think anything of their program or not. They're a huge name.
Oh no! By adding Oregon and Washington just now, the Big Ten can go back to the table. There's a clause in the contract that they can go back to the table and get more money just for adding Oregon and Washington. It doesn't matter who they're adding when it's like an escalator clause or something to that effect. So by adding any schools, obviously you can't take the current contract and say, okay, we're adding 2 more schools. Everybody in the Big Ten, you get less now. No, because we're dividing it up more. No, that's not the way it works. You're going to go back to those TV networks and get more money. It's simple, especially from Oregon. Or adding them to the Big Ten, it's fucking huge. You add fucking Notre Dame, forget about it, man. You should be adding 25 mil just for them.
That was the point I was getting at because of the name of adding Notre Dame. But you know what? I don't mind Notre Dame sitting out there and twisting in the wind.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that we should, if we played hardball, we would win easily. If we just told them, look, we now have 18 teams that won't play you, and we don't schedule them. If play hardball with them and just make them force their hand, say, look, you want 90 million and play our conference, or do you want 20 million and not play us? It's a fucking no-brainer, right? I mean, but the Big Ten won't do that. It seems the old Big Ten wouldn't. Maybe the influx of these new teams, and you get more votes. Maybe the majority of these, presidents say, we should play hardball with them. They can, they can have 6 games between Army, Navy, Stanford, and clean up the WAC or the Mountain West. But but that's what the Big Ten needs to do to get them to make a decision. If not,
I don't want to hear this shit. I hear this shit from their beat writers in Notre Dame, especially that Pete Sampson guy. He's well entrenched in the program, but I don't want to hear this shit that you're adding so much more viewership by adding Notre Dame to your conference that they deserve more. No. You're not adding more viewership. Yeah, the Ohio State Notre Dame game was one of the most viewed games last year and will be again this year too. But that's it. Not when Notre Dame plays fucking Navy.
Yeah, newsflash Notre Dame, it's us. Check the numbers.
Yeah,
the Buckeyes drive.
it's me. It's not you. It's me.
Right. Yeah, check the stuff.
All right.
I mean, they definitely don't deserve a bigger piece of the pie than say a Michigan, Ohio State, a Penn State, USC. Yeah. I mean, that would just be blatant. If they ever, if they were coming at that angle, if we think we deserve a higher percentage than y'all, then we say, then it's just like, well, we're just gonna let you, twist in the wind and die, as we make $60 million or $65 million more per school every year. That's gonna catch up to Notre Dame. The money's getting so big, and the TV contracts, they're gonna make a move. I mean, they're going to have to. They're going to be forced.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep it trucking. Go ahead, Shawn.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought I heard you. You got anything to add before we move on?
No, I think we beat that up.
Good. Beat the Irish. Beat the shit out of the Irish. All right. Let's get some quick recruiting updates here, and I have a message for the Ohio State collectives, the NIL collectives, before we leave this topic, but I won't lead off with that. So kind of a busy week in the recruiting world. We did get a 4-star linebacker, Nigel Glover, transferred from Northwestern, wanted out of the weenie wash and into a real program where they play football for championships. So he is a walk-on until January, so he doesn't count in this 23 class. Even though he is technically a freshman, he will count towards the 2024 class. He's a solid 4-star. Buckeyes didn't give him a lot of attention, but he's from Northmont. Was that Clayton, Ohio? I believe Northmont High. So Southwest Ohio, not far from Columbus. So that's a big get because it adds some depth going forward. Not necessarily for this year because we don't need more linebacker depth, but that's an add-on for the future and basically getting a linebacker commit for the 24 class that can come in earlier since we lost out on a couple linebackers in that class. Next up, last night we lost out on 5-star safety KJ Bolden. He committed to, yes, I'm going to say this out loud. He committed to Florida State. Yes. So we're losing guys to Florida State, South Carolina, and Miami right now. That's the world we're living in. Okay. Anyways, moving on. We'll come back around. We'll circle back, I promise. 5-star D lineman from Buford, Edric Houston, committing August 22nd. That's his birthday. And then 4-star wide receiver Jeremiah McClellan, committing August 13th. He is from St. Louis. I want to add a little nugget there that Missouri has different NIL laws where those kids can get that money up front compared to Ohio, for example. So McClellan can get his NIL money up front, which is basically an inducement. I mean, let's keep it real here. All these NIL agreements for kids that haven't even enrolled into college yet are inducements. I mean, let's be honest here. It's pretty simple. So keeping it moving. We'll come back if you guys got something you want to touch on, Jeff and Shawn, we'll do it. But let me finish this list. 5-star O lineman Brandon Baker, the tackle out of Mater Dei, looking at an in-season or December decision, most likely. He's scheduled visits to Nebraska in September. Yes, I said Nebraska again. This is the world we're living in. Safeties. I'm sorry. One more lineman. Jordan Seaton might be back in the mix. Buckeyes were in hot and heavy for him early in this year, like back in January. Things fell out of favor. I don't know what happened between Justin Fry and Jordan Seaton, but he could be back in the mix. If things fall out with Brandon Baker, look for Jordan Seaton to be back in the Buckeyes' favor. Seems like there needed to be kind of a reconciliation, or somebody fucked up. That's all I know. Somebody dropped the ball in that relationship. Could be either side. I don't know which, but that's what I'm hearing. Safeties. So let's talk safeties. Very important. We needed 3 to 4. We've got 1 right now. We got Jalen McLean from Jersey. He's a 4-star. Currently committed. Then you got the Buckeyes have offered a total of 13 safeties in this class. You got Zaquan Patterson from Chaminade Prep down there in South Florida, teammate of Jeremiah Smith, former teammate of Kenyatta Jackson and Ryan Turner, the corner. So Patterson and Jalen Hayward, the former Georgia commit, he just decommitted last week. Those are the only 2 uncommitted guys with Buckeye offers right now. So Buckeyes have obviously cranked up the heat on Zaquan Patterson and Jalen Hayward. Patterson made a weekend visit back in mid-March, came back with his mother for an unofficial in June, and then has said he's going to make an official to Ohio State, but has not made that yet. Maybe that happens during the season for a game day kind of visit. Okay. So hit me with your questions on any of those recruits, guys.
Well,
Shawn, go first.
It's nice to hear. Okay, Shawn, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just gonna say it's nice to hear Seaton's name again. It's been a long time since I heard him even being an option. Brandon Baker is probably one of those, maybe even those signing day, big TV production, be on ESPNU or whatever. We offered 13 safeties, you said, and we are now down to 4 options out of the 13. Was I keeping
We
track
got
right?
1 in the mix. We got 1 committed, and then we got 2 that are uncommitted. So yeah,
they were still going after it. And we lost out on all the big dogs that we talked about, going after big fish. Unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Like, if we're only targeting 15 guys in the country, you better damn. If you're trying to take 4, if you're trying to take 4 safeties, why are you? If there's only 13 being at Ohio State, you feel, then that's a big ask. You know what I mean? I'm not sure why we're only targeting 13 guys for 4 spots, knowing that every other school in the country has money to throw at these people too. Nigel Glover, the guy from Northwestern, listened to the interview with him, liked that kid a lot. He talked.
yeah. Yeah. Jeff's Wi-Fi is down again.
Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry, I'm back. Go ahead, Joe. I was just gonna touch on the 2 of those guys you mentioned, but I don't know if you guys heard about my safety talk.
Yeah.
If we're trying to take 4 safeties, why are we only offering 13? That's a pretty big tall ask to get 4 signed out of 13.
Well, I think some of it might be, though, on regards to that. You look at what we've done in the portal, and that portal, we've been bringing in, Jihad Carters and Igbino Sons, and I think 4 is ideal, but you're not going to skimp, and so like, hey, we've got so many guys, but we're not casting the net that far because we'd rather probably get some kid that we've seen play out of the transfer portal then, cast a wide net with some 3-stars and stuff, and get these guys in here that just aren't the caliber.
Yeah, generally speaking, the Buckeyes work on a smaller, not so deep recruiting board. So like they offer maybe 130, 150 guys per cycle. Whereas, we talked about this before where Michigan, throws out over 300 offers, but the Buckeyes want to put out fewer offers so they can concentrate on building the relationship with the player and the parents, right? The family, where Michigan, they don't know who the fuck they're getting if they put out 300 plus offers, right? They haven't even seen tape on some of these guys, I'm sure, so the Buckeyes are taking a more conservative approach, I guess you could say, but they want to put more eggs in fewer baskets, and go all in on some kids that are high quality players, but also good people, high quality people, families, too. So I don't know. I'm not sure there's a right or what's that?
It's high risk, high reward. You
Exactly.
do that.
Yeah.
But an offer from Ohio State, I think, means more. It's like these kids work to try and get that Ohio State
I have
offer.
no problem.
But
I want to be clear on this. I have no problem with them, only reserving their spots for the quality kids. If it means a 5-star that they don't want to mess with because they think there's issues with him, I'm all for that. I would rather have the good kids in the program, but at the same time, you got to get somebody. You got to get. If you're gonna play 3 safeties, you got to have some studs. So I don't know what's our recruiting strategy. Is our recruiting strategy playing out the way they want it to, or this is something you think we have to reevaluate on a yearly basis? You can't live in the portal every year; it'll catch up to you.
Well, yeah. This has a lot of moving parts, and every recruitment is different, and it seems to be changing day to day as far as player to player, what the priority is for a specific kid, right? But I do need to say, before we get off this recruiting topic, that I need to call out all the Ohio State collectives. You're going to have to fucking get in the mud. You're going to have to get into these bidding wars, like it or not. I don't care. I don't care what you're hearing from Ohio State's leadership, coaches, whatever. You're going to have to get in there and make sure we get some of these 5-star defensive players, because right now we're not getting them. And you collective folks, with handling all the money, you're managing it. You are determining the future of this program, and specifically in this case, this particular 24 class, the defense. We have 7 fucking commits, man. It's August. Come on. We got 1 safety, 1 D lineman. We need 3 to 4 of each. And we're losing to teams like Florida State, fucking South Carolina, and Miami. You got to be kidding me. This is unacceptable. So this is my call out to you, collectives. Get your shit together. Start fucking paying out. I know you got the money. Don't give me that, oh, we don't have it bullshit. It's fucking Ohio State, man. It's the largest fan base in the goddamn world. Get your ass together. God, so frustrating.
The Lightfoot recruitment to Miami, that strictly was a money thing. That's almost known, right? It was clearly that.
All these NIL is a factor to some degree in all these recruitments.
It's a strategy. I don't know if I guess I'm not clear on the state laws, Ohio State versus a state like Florida or Missouri. Are we just obeying state laws and only offering what we can when we can? But see, that's the whole problem. We're not playing. If we're playing that rule, other states have different rules. Everybody plays for the same goal in the game, but not everybody has to follow the same rules. That's it's a losing proposition too.
And the other issue is a lot of fans, especially in the northern states, I'm talking Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State fans, they don't feel like we should have to play along with these NIL requirements that players want. That attitude is a loser attitude right out of the fucking gates. I've gotten comments today from people saying those exact words, that if they only want to go by NIL and go to a school because of that, then we don't want them. Well, guess what? You're not going to get 5-star players then. If you don't want to play the game, get in the mud and do the things that mostly SEC schools are doing, and Miami, add them, and Florida State now, they've really ramped things up now that they got apparently Chase Bank is on their back. But so if you don't want to play the game, then you're not going to get high-end recruits and you're not going to have a good program anymore. So think long term. I get frustrated with some of the comments I got today about people saying that if a player only is interested in, it's not only NIL, obviously, but that is a big deciding factor. You know, so I'll let you guys have the last word on that topic before we move on.
Yeah, I think the money surrounding it definitely. Well, you think it probably comes into play. I mean, well, Florida State. I mean, again, why? Unless there's a nice bag of money. All the things being equal, I mean, it's a no-brainer. But I mean, what do you do if you're sitting there and you're Georgia? Why didn't the kid go to Georgia? Stay home and go to an SEC team. I was surprised we were in on that kid from the get-go.
All the crystal balls were for KJ Bolden to Georgia.
And I mean, it's not like Georgia doesn't have the money in collecting the players.
Right.
I just, but at some point it doesn't matter. You're going to have, like we've said and talked about, and people getting in trouble. You're going to have a bunch of dark, dirty money coming in at these places. And you could see programs get real good real quick where they just start buying everybody. They just start backing up Brinks trucks and, get 10 of the top 20 kids.
Yeah, we're seeing that. And it seems like programs are making a lot of promises, but promises do not pay. Let's see.
That's what I want to see. I mean, was this the second year of it or third? Has it?
Second, technically, yeah. Second recruiting class.
The second year that some of these schools are allowed to do it in the open. It's been happening. We all know that.
Well, McDonald's bags don't count, but right now, I think you got everybody is. I don't know. I think Miami, Florida State, some of these flimsy ass programs are making promises that their athletic departments and their NIL collectives can't cash. You're going to see some fucking bouncing checks around. Big time. I mean, we've already seen it with that Jaden Rashada kid. He had to end up at fucking Arizona State because Miami or Florida or whoever wouldn't, their check didn't clear. Yeah, Florida. So it's just, you're going to see more of this. Kids are going to make a fucking cash grab, like maybe a Marquise Lightfoot to Miami, and then suddenly, he's on campus for a quarter, and there's no money in his account. Wire transfer never went through. Oops. Then do they come back to Ohio State? Does Ohio State take them? I don't know. Maybe not. We're going to see.
Yeah. The SEC, the ACC schools that you're referring to, Miami and Florida State, they have their own battle. Florida State, they're looking at avenues of privatizing their football program away from the school like you said, with JP Morgan Chase, in order to pay the buyout to get out of the conference TV deal. So you're fighting, they're fighting that end, and they're crying, we have no money to pay this buyout. And that's the most important thing for us to be competitive. We need to get out of this conference under this contract. But if they're buying players, they're pretty confident that somebody's going to be giving them some money. Florida State does not have, like, that school does not have a lot of money.
No.
It's not a big school.
No.
And you know, so that's a huge thing. That privatization from, you know, hedge funds, that'll change the whole game, because that you're privatizing the football program from the school. Florida State's not talking about giving the university this JP Morgan hedge fund money. That's just for them to buy out the conference so they can then go somewhere and hope somebody wants them. I don't think anybody wants them, first of all, but they're selling a bill of goods and they're flashing something to these kids.
Yeah, I haven't heard a single conference say they're interested in Florida State.
I don't know. Nobody needs them. I mean, them as a university, they don't offer anything like Stanford would, and Notre Dame.
Yeah,
would.
I think it's audition time, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, Florida State is one of those teams like Notre Dame. SEC's filling up, Big Ten's filling up. If you go shit the bed again, Florida State, and you're not good these next couple years, no one's going to consider you. It's been too long, man.
And remember this: their coach, Mike Norvell, he donated $1 million of his contract to a fucking collective, not the school, not back to the school. He donated $1 million of his contract to the collective. If that's not buying players from the coaches, what the fuck? It's like how is
it's
that?
legal in his state.
Has there's no rules to. There's no rules to. The NCAA can't enforce anything. So why not? Let's just cut all the shit. Let's just cut college football. Not make it college football. Make it after high school football. Name it something different. Separate it. You can still go to the school. You're gonna wear the school's colors, but you're not affiliated with the school. Football it's gonna get to that point. That's what all this will lead to. You get hedge funds. Hedge funds are gonna start financing football programs.
And Saudis. The Saudis are coming in for American sports.
Once you open the door to somebody, once you open the door and the schools allows an outside source to finance just their football program, they're not going to stop the door for other people that want to. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Saudis
Shawn, I know you fancy yourself a geopolitical interested person. What do you think about the Saudis coming in and trying to buy your football?
I don't know. I didn't read the story or know anything about it, but that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, they're invested in anything. They already bought golf. Yeah.
They're looking at tennis as well, and they're going to practice in NFL.
The money's too big. I think there's I heard, and not to branch off too far, but there's a soccer player that was offered like 1.2 or 3 billion for 1 year. You know, one of these superstars.
I know that story
last year. And it's like, what the 1 year? And I think
for one dude, that's one dude.
Yeah,
it's not a team.
He's the best player in the world, Kylian Mbappe. The buyout was like a $300 million buyout to the team, and he was going to make about $700 million. Was going to be his salary.
Still,
so it was like $1 billion or so total, but they had to pay a couple $100 million to his current club team.
So you got the Saudis are part of that ownership group that just bought the Washington Redskins, right?
The
minority. They're minority owners in a lot of.
Oh no!
In a lot of, but.
What's that, Jeff?
They're going to have. I said the Saudi whatever their investment fund, whatever it's called,
PIF.
PIF. They're in a lot of major franchise teams. They run the English Premier League pretty much, but they're not in the majority stake ownership of any professional teams in America yet.
Okay.
But I say yet because these owners love to see somebody come in and say, "Oh, what's the bid? $5 billion? We'll give you $12 billion." Well, then that gets split up by the owners, and greed is good, man. Those owners are like, well, we don't like these Arabs, but fuck it, it's $12 billion. You know, it's all it's going to take. Eventually,
Saudi money is different.
It is. Yeah, it's a little bigger.
And I do have issues. If the Saudi fund ever is associated with Ohio State, I'm going to have a real issue with that. With Ohio State, but I don't think Ohio State and those large, upper echelon teams or programs would allow it because we have such a revenue stream. But you never know, money talks. So if you let the hedge fund, through JP Chase, whatever, come in, you're gonna open the door for anybody to come in.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I don't know how Florida State would just let their football program just be privatized. That's a big step right there if that happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't want to completely get into the Saudi topic, but I thought it was important because it's kind of on the horizon, I think, for college football and all of American football. So I wanted to touch on it at some point, and we probably need to give it more time and more research. But all right, we got to talk a little position battles here before we get out the door. I probably should check on the chat, make sure these guys are still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a busy night in the chat. We got Billy first in the door. Billy, I got a song for you. Billy, don't you lose my number, because you're not anywhere that I can find you. Yeah. That was my song for you, Billy. Phil Collins, you're welcome. Stephen Cherry's in here. Stephen, make sure you're tuned in the next 2 weeks. We're talking score predictions and team over-under wins. And I know you're a good prediction person. It's your thing. Temper, what's up, Temper? Stephen Cherry says maybe we need to move Heartline to the defensive side of the ball for recruiting. Can't argue with that. Tyrone, what's up, Tyrone? Good to see you.
Not like Billy. Put what'd you say there? Put Laurinaitis.
Yeah.
More in there.
Yeah, I guess. I've never seen Laurinaitis coach D-line, but seems like he would know where to get started. Billy says we should have a shutdown D this year. I agree. We should. Top five in the country. I'm calling it. I've called it.
Yep.
I'm going to continue to call it. Temper, great point. We went from 59th to 17th last year. I don't know what category or what statistic that is, but sounds good. Temper says, LOL, the booze is kicking in. That's probably when Jeff's Wi-Fi went out. Corey Flores, what's up, man? Good to see you. Tyrone says, is the Pac-12 done? Yes. Billy says, hey, Joe and bros, what's up? Steven says that the Big Ten needs to get Florida State and Miami. See, I'm not on board with any of those ACC schools. They do nothing for me. What about you guys?
Hell no.
Okay. Short and sweet. Hairball finally hired good assistants. Day is maybe still learning on that front, says Billy. You notice that there is an age difference between offense and defense on the Ohio State staff. You ever notice that? Now that Kevin Wilson has moved on, you got Justin Fry, Brian Hartline, Keenan Bailey, Corey Dennis. Those guys are all under 40. I'm pretty sure Justin Fry is under 40. Brian Day is like 44. Then defense, you got Tim Walton, Perry Eliano, Larry Johnson, of course. Those guys are all over 40. Not that 40 is a cutoff, or a border you can't cross, but just wanted to point that out, the age difference. Let's see.
Well, there's a caveat to that. You look at James the other night. Is going to be a full-time coach next season. I have 100% faith in that. Then he'll be able to be out on the recruiting trail. He'll be able to travel. That's the biggest plus that we could ask for as far as getting him in front of kids and kids' parents. Super impressive guy. So, and the replacement for Larry Johnson, which is coming, we think we have the guy on staff, right? So we think it's next year or the year after, probably. He's a younger dude. But yeah, Knowles is an old guy, and Walton and Eliano. I mean, I don't know what's the grade on those guys so far. I mean, we went back and forth with how do we think they're doing? Are they holding their weight? Or
I say not? Tim Walton's the best recruiter on the staff right now on defense.
Okay.
Last 2 years at least. He's only been there since January of a year and a half ago. He's gotten 4 high-end, high 4-star guys, like borderline 5-star guys. You can blame Larry Johnson's recruiting somewhat on NIL last year and kind of this year too. I mean, if you want to, you can blame it on that, but can't all be that, right? We missed out.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we make it down to everybody's final 3, final 5. So, I mean, at least I feel like Larry Johnson and these guys have us in the game, and the NIL doesn't close. I feel like when they narrow it down to 3 or 5, it's like, all right, I'm talking to these 3 schools about the money. And, I'm not trying to talk to every school about every deal. It's like, then he's whittling it down. But I mean, if you're going to take Florida State over Ohio State, I mean, I think how much money? I mean, it can't be just like 20, 30 grand more.
Yeah, it's got to be a shit ton. An extra 0.
I would think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You would imagine so. But if you're pulling these kids out of the South and you ask them to go to Columbus, Ohio, kind of an outpost for, I guess, from Buford, Georgia, or, kids from Chaminade down here in South Florida, you say, oh, go up north. You know nobody. You have no support. You have a different maybe a different lifestyle than what you're used to. That does, I think that still does play a factor. Not to mention the money and these other schools not playing by the rules they're allowed to play by, and we're still playing by the rules that we're allowed to play by. There's a combination of factors there that are, they contribute to these kids. I'm gonna stay down south, But we get a bunch, but we don't get the key ones enough. Right. Edric Houston's going to be a huge decision, man. That's going to be a huge date for Buckeye Nation. Goddamn, that's the last one. That's the last big one, really, until Baker maybe on signing day. But
so I got some responses from the 5-star DN or 5-star corner, and you might be surprised that everybody so far has 5-star DN as their vote. Steven, Cherry, DN, Tyrone, DN, Billy, DN. Temper says DN. Steven says games to 1 in the trenches. Temper says 5-star D tackle. Billy says, is it me or is Jeff muffled? Temper says sound muffled. Stephen Cherry, crying emojis. Corey Flores, absolutely. Sean Michael, Notre Dame 35, Ohio State 6.
That's a troll.
Of course. Temper, hey Joe, is that your Tommy Bahama Buckeye Hawaiian shirt? Yes, it is. Is also known as the party shirt for short. Don't be short with me. Temper says, dude, our D will score 6 points in response to Sean Michael. Everybody's asking Sean to Sean Michael, not Sean, you, to give him money on that bet. Odysseus, Domer fans delusional, haven't won since FDR was president. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Sean Michael firing back says, OSU crybabies crying they lost Bolden to a legal NIL issue while paying for Justin Scott. Anyway, I don't know.
He's just hurt. Michigan fan, he's hurt.
Notre Dame, yeah. Everybody tell him to shut the fuck up. Let's see. There's only about 47 Notre Dame channels. Go home. Good job, Billy. You don't want to ND. Those people are losers. Okay. Look at this Notre Dame guy trying to throw the Michigan score at us. 45-23. Good job. Then he says the Big Ten will bring in Clemson and Notre Dame. Okay. Anyway, I'm not reading any more of that guy's messages. Tyrone says, no way you get rid of Rickers. That's the New York City market. Okay. I thought that was a joke. Sounded funny to me. Notre Dame ain't been relevant since Holt's days. They can kick rocks. Way to keep it clean, Stephen. Billy says they always have Newt, the Four Horsemen, and Rudy. A lot of Notre Dame hate spewed in the chat right now. I love it. We don't get enough of that anymore. Billy says JJ McCarthy has an NIL deal with Pick Six Lotto. That's top notch. What do we got here? We're not going to get Houston. You paid for. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep it moving here. I'm going to come back to the chat, I promise, before we get out. So our main topic tonight, now that it's 9:08, is position battles. Shawn, you want to start with your position battle you're really focusing on in fall camp?
Well, again, I was posed like this a position that I'm watching. And I guess there's battles going on. And we'll see where it lands. But to me, the whole success or lack thereof is going to depend on the offensive line. And so that to me is going to be the most intriguing battle and position group that we got out there. I'm not sure about our starting five. I mean, I'm pretty happy with a few of them. And then the guys behind them, I just have no idea. So I know a few of these guys are going to be gone next year, and it's something that we've got to develop. I mean, you think we're thin this year. I mean, think about next year. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but to me, that's the most intriguing deal out there. And I just saw would they have who was starting out there, Mikowski, they had running with the first team at right tackle.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because everyone else was hurt, but looks like he might be stepping up in his, what is it? Is he a redshirt freshman?
Oh, Mahalski? No.
Redshirt sophomore. Redshirt sophomore.
There you go.
So, I mean, I think we all had Cipolla there. I don't know.
I didn't.
I haven't been up on everything. Oh, there you go, Jeff. You sound great now.
I'm back.
You
Switch headphones,
yeah.
guys. Switch headphones.
You put away the muff.
You didn't have what, Jeff?
I didn't have Chibola at right tackle penciled in. I thought it was the transfer Collins or Mikulski. Is that Mikowski? Simmons?
Mikulski.
I thought it was one of those two. Chibola, I just never got from just listening to coaches talk, I never got any type of, they say he's working or, he's there. He's putting in the reps. I'm trying to listen to the words that these coaches will give you and try to take from that what they mean. I just never got any kind of feeling that they thought he was a serious push. They were giving him the opportunities, but we had to go get a transfer from San Diego State. You know what I mean? I think there's two positions that are still up for grabs in camp here on the O-line. I think there's three have been solidified.
Okay. Shawn, back to you. You were talking, were you focused on tackle or guard there?
No, basically, I thought it was posed as position group, and I just lumped the whole O line in together.
Okay.
Guard to tackles, because again, we've got. I'm pretty comfortable, like I said, with a few of those guys, and we'll see. And then we got to see what depth comes in, and I hope we get some early blowouts for that second team O line does get in and gets quality reps. To me, that's going to be the position to really keep our eye on moving forward. Again, probably more pass this year, or heaven forbid, if we start getting a little bit of an injury bug, and knock on wood.
Yeah, how about Luke Montgomery, the true freshman, getting some work at second team left tackle?
Oh, really? Nice.
Really excited about
Crazy.
him. Really excited about him.
That's a big deal. And George Fitzpatrick, second year guy there. So yeah, Hinsman at center does not seem to be challenged at all by Jacob James, the fourth year guy. Kind of surprising to me.
My opinion also. I feel real confident that Hinsman will solidify that fourth spot on the O-line, and then that right tackle spot's going to be the last, I think, of the battles.
Yeah.
But I would look at Luke Montgomery being our starting left tackle next year when Fryer leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe Fryer is a senior. I don't know if he has a. Yeah.
So right now, just to finish up the O-line, we got Fryer at starting. These were the ones in practice the other day. Fryer left tackle, Donovan Jackson left guard, of course, Carson Hinsman at center, Matthew Jones at right guard, of course, and then Zen Mahalski running with the ones at right tackle. So we'll see if Tegra and Josh Simmons can put up a fight there at the right tackle job, but yeah.
No, I think I said Collins. You're right. Yeah, sorry. Josh Simmons was the guy I was referring to with McCausey. I think those five are going to be the five, barring health, obviously injuries. I think those five are our starting five against Indiana to open the season.
It's very possible. Jeff, what do you have for your position battle you're focused on? Okay.
Two mainly outside of course, the starting quarterback. It's the safety. It's the three safeties. Where's Cam Martinez going to be? And I think if he's not in the rotation on a serious rotation, I think he's jumping. I think he's jumping out. So I want to see where does Proctor, Cam Martinez, and those guys, because Jahad Carter probably is going to earn a spot. And my other spot is tight end. Is Joe Warrior going to be able to, in that 12 personnel, be able to be the blocking tight end that we need? But we have, with G. Scott and the Jelani Thurman, who's a different type. I think they're all different types of tight ends. So after Stover, is Joe Royer going to be that solidified number two? I haven't heard anybody talking about G. Scott, which sucks because we thought he had a ton of potential, being as like a red zone threat and stuff. But it seems like they recruited Thurman to kind of do what they thought G. Scott might turn into. So it looks like Scott's not just progressing
he was like
enough.
a top 5 wide receiver coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was
right.
always...
Right. And Jelani Thurman is a fucking freak. And I could see him, those red zone targets, kind of like a Jimmy Graham back with Drew Brees and the Saints. Red zone targets, just jump balls, that type of player. But how much has Royer solidified that number two and being able to do some of that stuff that Thurman can do, and also block the way maybe, Rossi could do. So,
well, those you're talking about like three very different types of positions within the tight end position. Rossi,
exactly. We have different types of tight ends, but is Royer good enough at all of those different lanes to solidify? We don't need that freshman coming on the field. I got this. I can split out wide on a goal line and go for a jump ball. I can also go in motion and slam, on a lead off tackle play for the tailback. Can Royer do all that? I've heard a lot of hype from the insiders, from the coaches, a lot of talk about Joe Royer. I don't know exactly the story of what he went through last year, but they all seem to be really impressed with the kid who's been able to battle back and show what he's, be as impressive as he is.
Yeah. When you're going 12 personnel, which the Buckeyes are going to do quite a bit, you got Royer, Kate Stover on the field, and then you're going to get snaps for G. Scott and probably Jelani Thurman. I mean, we haven't seen anything from Sam Hart or Bennett Christian. So you're basically left with, 4 guys for a 2 deep when you're running a lot of 12 personnel. So that means you're going to be using 4 tight ends quite often. You're going to be rotating. So we'll see how it turns out as far as snap counts and who gets the majority of the snaps and all that. But I think Royer and Kate Stover are your hands down leaders in the clubhouse at tight end. Let me flip back to Shawn. Shawn, you got a second position you're focused on here?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's probably our best group, the wide receivers. So we got our starting 3, right? There's no doubt about that. And we got all kinds of talent there. But to me, this is going to be the position group that who's going to battle to get more playing time. There's always 1 or 2 guys that get a little bit more out of those first 3 than the others. And I just keep hearing everything good about Carnell Tate, like that he's a dude. So kind of interested to see, next year it's all wide open. They're all gone with Xavier Johnson. I mean, 4 of your top 6 basically are gone. So to me, this is where hopefully these guys have good leadership. I just saw that 2 of I'll probably screw this up. Was it Harrison and Abuka just got the Ironman? Is that or what do they call that award Buckeye. For? Yeah. So that to me shows some serious leadership, and hopefully those young guys are taking note.
Yeah. I agree with you for the receivers. It's not about who, I'm not questioning who the starters are really. Maybe Fleming, is he going to, have some reps taken from the younger guys or whatever, but who's in that 2 deep, when it comes to receiver, kind of what you're saying is Carnell Tate going to get some reps I mean, Brandon Ennis has been on campus since May, only a few months, but
Noah Rogers,
he's flashed. Exactly. Noah Rogers, my guy. Again, you got 3 studs there. You got to think those guys are going to get on the field at some point, maybe in blowouts, but I think they have to factor into 2 deep. Let's see, Jeff, you got anything on the defensive side of the ball?
Hey, sorry. Yeah. Just regarding the safeties positions,
Okay.
Proctor coming back for his 6th year.
Yeah.
And Cam Martinez, who everybody said, this kid is electric. He should be our punt returner because he's so electric with the ball in his hand. Former quarterback, I believe, in high school. But he looks like he's the odd man out in that safety. Sonny Styles obviously needs to play. For some reason, they think Layton Ransom is a no question starter, and Jihad Carter. Knowles, a quote from Knowles: "This kid can take instruction and immediately relay it onto the field in action." He said, and that's special. That's not common. So if you have a D coordinator talking about, being able to tell a kid, no, do this, and then he can go do that and replicate it and make plays, it seems like Knowles is really happy to have his experience in leadership. So, are we going to lose Cam Martinez? Is he going to go? I think he's, and Proctor committed, he's there, but Proctor's going to be a depth piece. I think. People need to quit telling me, or I need to quit hearing about Proctor's, freakish athletic ability or his freakish playmaking ability. We've seen enough of Josh Proctor to know he won't do it consistently. He hasn't done it consistently. And if he's not a starter with the ones on the first day of camp in this 6th year, that means he hasn't shown the coaches that he can do it consistently.
Yeah.
So, Jay, but yeah, I mean, the corners are set, but those 3 safety positions, who's really going to push those 3? Because I think the first 3 that we're running with the ones on day 1, I think those should be our 3.
It's just the arrangement of them would be the
and that could
only
all
challenge
change
I
too.
have. I mean, Sonny, I'm not sure can cover a slot receiver, but maybe that's when you pull him out or you rotate Jihad Carter down into the slot. But I agree. Sonny Styles, Jihad Carter, Lathan Ransom, those are your starting safeties. However you want to arrange them really depends on how the offense lines up. What kind of package are they in, really? So I think it is important to have Sonny Styles near the line of scrimmage. And if they need to rotate around, I mean, this goes into our conversation we had a few weeks ago about the versatility and that positionless defense. These guys are able to give you multiple looks from different positions, right? And they can rotate around like Jihad Carter. He played in a similar defense, and he played all 3 positions at Syracuse for 3 years. Lathan Ransom, obviously, in his 4th year, he's been around the block, and smart kid, is a baller. Hopefully he can get a full season. He did not play every game last year. He got brought in when Proctor fucked up against Notre Dame, then missed a couple games. So can he put together a full season of health and production? Sonny Styles, not worried about him. I think we're going to see a lot of good from Sonny Styles this year if he's playing like most snaps. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, me. Give me the more Sonny Styles, the better. I just can't wait to see the kid. Again, I think they're just reserved on, does he know it all? But I thought I read something where they think, we may have Sonny down there covering the slot receiver at times. Like this dude might, he could be anywhere.
Yeah, I guess if he wants to knock them on their ass as they come off the ball, that's fine. Really fuck up their timing a bit. But he's not going to be able to stick with a Rondale Moore or somebody like that, he's just too fucking big. I mean, he's fast. I know he's freaky, but you got to have like realistic expectations.
It's an interesting take from Jeff, though. It's on Cam Martinez, who I've always had a soft spot for. Always liked that kid. He's had his ups and downs in the program, but I feel like he was always around the ball. But obviously some mistakes made. Yeah, if he feels like he's jumped, I mean, when can you transfer and still be on another team?
There's no transferring till the end of the year.
Oh, so okay.
You can leave
if you're a graduate,
you can leave the program. Yeah, you can leave.
Yeah, you're always welcome to walk out the door. It's a free country still.
And go check with you can go check with schools and kind of get recruited off the rule.
So
page,
you save your
eligibility.
It doesn't count against you.
Yeah, if you're a graduate, you can. The portal rules are much different. It's not the same for everybody else, but a grad transfer can pop into portal anytime and pop out. But I'm not sure we're dealing with that here in any of these scenarios for Ohio State. I did see Proctor did graduate today. Was it Proctor and somebody else graduated? So theoretically, they could transfer, but are you going to try and get on another team in the next 2 weeks? Seems unlikely.
And when Proctor's in his 6th year, I mean, he made the commitment to come back to us. He's not he's not jumping anywhere. I mean, he knew. I
Oh,
think
no.
he knew exactly what he was getting into when he came back, when he agreed
Mhm.
to stay and not not jump after spring or even after last season. So
Yeah, he's on the same field with Sonny
Uh,
Styles. Like, holy shit.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's a good breakdown. I got nothing else for tonight.
I tell you what, I would love to see a slot receiver, little like 5'9", 180 guy come in motion, and then you see Sonny Styles roll up to him to catch him on the other end of the after he gets past the tackle, and the guy's like, "Oh fuck me!" And then Sonny Styles is man to man bump and run with him, and murder the little kid. With his reach and arms, he could really disrupt pass route. And yeah, obviously, you're talking, Joe. He can't stay with him on those little dig and drag routes and stuff,
Right.
maybe, but nobody really can. I mean, that's just a part of the offense. They run those picks, and then those guys just run that 5-yard crossing route, and they catch it on the run. It happens all the time. But so yeah, I think there might be a lot of rotation in those three guys going from spot to spot to give offenses different looks. See Sonny roll up, or see Sonny as the deep safety, and then next series you see him, he's up as like an outside linebacker, like a 4-3. That will play havoc with quarterbacks. Trying to read. All right, well, who's last series? Sonny was sitting deep middle. Now he's up here like a rush end, outside the end or something. But yeah, like that flexibility and all those safeties, because I think, obviously we want to see him, and we think because of his size, run support wise, he would be the best option. Well, I haven't seen Jihad Carter play though. I mean, I know his size, I know how tall he is, how much he weighs, but I haven't seen him play a game. Like, nobody watched Syracuse, so I'm really interested to see him and see how he does play. What's he best at, and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Oh, Joe.
Hey, yeah.
We didn't answer our thoughts on it. Yeah, the chat room is correct. Of course, DN. DN's their game records, and it's
corner or defensive end 5-star. But what's your choice? Everybody agrees it's defensive end, huh?
Oh, hands down,
I
hands
do,
down,
100%.
instantly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Good deal.
You can hide from a 5-star corner. You can't.
Real quick comparison.
DN can still wreck you.
Yeah.
Real quick
don't
comparison.
Forget to hit the like button, folks. Don't forget to share it. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like. Go ahead, Jeff, quickly.
Real quick. 2019, we had one of our best defenses in a long time. Should have beat Clemson in that goddamn Fiesta Bowl. Who would you rather have on that defense? Chase Young or Jeff Okudah? Who was more important? Who was more impactful?
We have both.
You know what I mean?
That's not fair.
Both, yes. But I'm saying if it's a game changer corner versus a game record DN, give me fucking Chase Young. Hands down, not really that much to debate. That's just one example of DN versus, a 5-star versus a 5-star. Take the DN always.
All right. Sounds good. Or you could have the refs in your pocket and easily win a playoff game. Anyway, enough of that. Appreciate everybody joining us. Don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, make sure you share it with somebody. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget, 25% off at thebuckeyecast.com through fall camp all the way to week 1. Get in there, get your Buckeye shirts and merch, and you can get your Buckeye Cast logo stuff, get some hats, water bottles, the whole 9 yards. Go nuts. So talk to you guys later. A go Bucks.